All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. God bless y'all. I'm Jarvis Kingston, and I hope y'all doing all right in these challenging times. Now, today, I want to discuss about animals. You know, nature and the purpose of animals and how God created them and their purpose on earth and their purpose for God. And, different types of categories about animals, dealing with animal life, animal mothers, animal offspring, animal reproduction, animal rights, animal sacrifice, free will offerings, animal sacrifice as a type of Christ, animal sacrifices, burnt offerings, heave offerings, meal offerings, peace offerings, sin offerings, trespass offerings, and wave offerings, also, there's just so much that talks about animals, animal skin, animals at specific ages, animals cut in pieces, animals eating people, animals falling, animals fate after death, animals forsaken, animals going astray, animals going to heaven, animals having a soul, animals in heaven, animals killing, animals mating, animals multiplying, animals serving human needs, animals suckling, animals torn to pieces, animals caring for, animal cruelty towards, animals figurative use, animals God's caring of animals, religious roles of animals, and the different types of animals. So there's so much layers when it comes to this, because when God created the earth, he actually put animals before he placed us. We were actually his last creation, us as people. You notice he created the heavens, the earth, the firmament, and then he created the land. He created all the earth, and then he created animals. He placed the birds and the different beasts of the earth, and then he placed man and woman there. He placed Adam and Eve there. So we were his last creation. Before that seventh day of him resting, we were the last ones on his mind. That's why we should always humble ourselves and always remember that we're just dust at the end of the day. The Most High made man out of ground. He made a woman out of a man's rib. He made a woman out of a man's ribs. So we have to remember that we were the last ones that were placed here. We have to always remember that and keep that in mind. God placed animals before us because that's just how he designed it, and the Most High does as he pleases. And another thing as well is that, the Most High just has a certain care for animals. They just serve a different purpose. They serve just different types of objectives that they carry out for the Most High. You have all types of animals that work for the kingdom of heaven. You got bears, you got lions, you got horses, especially horses, because God is very strong on chariots and things like that. So horses serve a huge purpose, man. The four horsemen, things like that. So, man, as us as people, some people love dogs, some love cats, some people like different types of animals. For me, I like horses, I like tigers, I like dogs, I like lions too, and giraffes and zebras. I think those are cool too. It's just amazing how God has created all these different animals and how God has placed them to do different things and give them different directions and purposes. One thing that's powerful about animals that people don't realize is that animals don't have clothes, they don't have places to truly go, but they can sense danger from far away. They can know when a natural disaster is going to happen. They can know when God's wrath, God's judgment is about to be poured out in a certain area. The animals can know ahead of time before people know of how something bad is going to happen in that area or that environment. You notice how you'll always see a random animal just stranded? 9 times out of 10, that animal avoided danger. That animal got away from a sticky situation because animals have very high awareness. They're very spiritual. They just see things before it happens. They just know exactly what to do, where to go when certain things happen. But it's kind of funny how with people aren't good at survival. People aren't good at knowing where to go or knowing what to do in a situation because people fear so much. People are full of anxiety. People overthink so much. They panic so hard. They don't even know how to solve their own problems. Animals, they just understand this world. They understand the kingdom of heaven. They understand all those things like it's nothing. So that's why if it gets really cold, animals know how to stay warm. If it gets really hot, animals know how to stay cool. You see, they know how to adapt. They know how to switch up. They know how to go with the flow. People are kind of backwards or out of order when it comes to nature and dealing with certain things, because the problem with us people, we think we know it all. We're so prideful. We think because we went to a certain school or got a certain degree, we just think we know everything from top down. We think because we did some research or somebody on YouTube told us something that we just think we know it all. We don't know nothing. You gotta remember, we're always the last ones to know, man. You understand? We were the last of God's creation, so we're never going to be the first ones to know exactly when God's wrath is going to come, when God's destruction, like the anger of the Most High, putting judgment on a certain place of people. We're always the last ones to know. We have to find out through the fake news and the media outlets and the liberal news and the right news and the left news. We got to learn. We get it from them. That just shows you how out of touch we are as people. That just shows how most people out here are not in tune with the Most High themselves, because a few people are in tune with the Most High, where God will show a person a dream, or he'll tell the person something in a divine manner, and that person will go out and say it, and that person might get attacked or laughed at for it, because when you go out confessing dreams or telling people that God is going to do something to this place, or God is going to do something to these people, give out a warning, you will be laughed at and mocked at for it. So always understand that animals serve a high purpose. These animals out here, they're starting to see all these wildfires. They're starting to see all these floods, all these earthquakes. You see how all these things are happening, and a lot of times with these crazy events, you notice not all animals suffer from it. A lot do, but it's mostly people that suffer from it. Why? Because people don't evacuate. People don't know how to go, where to go when things happen. People are not hip to nature. People are not in tune with things like that. So that's why when crazy stuff happens, people are asked out. People are stuck. They're screwed, because people are so out of touch with the Most High. They're so out of touch in the times that we're in. They're so distracted and so occupied with their own little stuff. They're not focusing on the big picture. They're not focusing on nature and animals and the wonders and signs and miracles. They're not peeping those things. They're not catching those things in the spirit realm. So, man, animals serve a high purpose out here. You know what I mean? And we have to always consider an animal's life. We have to always be mindful of animals. Even in the Bible, God used animals to speak to certain people. God used a donkey. God used to speak to a certain follower or servant or a prophet or prophetess. God would use an animal to do it. Remember, God spoke to Moses through a burning bush, and God spoke to many different prophets and prophetesses, and he also spoke to different men and women of the Most High through animals, through a donkey, through like angels, through all types of different beings. But animals serve a purpose. Animals can speak to you from the Most High. The Most High can use any animal to speak to you, to prophesize to you, to speak something over your life, to speak something to you, fulfill something. God, yes, he can. God does it all. We serve a mighty God. We serve a God that does as he pleases. We serve a God that goes above our imaginations and our thinking scales. You feel me? God does the unimaginable, man. His ways is higher than our ways. His thoughts is higher than our thoughts. So we have to always remember how God uses animals, and how God can use an animal to warn us about danger, or warn us about a certain direction we're going, or God can use an animal to tell you something's going on with you or your family, or God can always use something, whether it's a dog or just any animal, really. Understand that, man. When you're looking at an animal, don't just look at it as a pet or a lost animal. You got to look at it from a spiritual sense, to kind of look at the animal and what it's doing, what's its purpose, and what is that animal serving? Like, why is that animal in this place while I'm here? There's no such thing as a loose dog or a loose animal, because animals are meant to be free anyway. Animals are God made animals to roam the earth. So this is their earth. This isn't ours. Like this place isn't ours. We were the last ones here. So we're not truly welcomed, in certain areas, believe it or not. Certain places are for the lions, certain places are for horses, because they belong there. What I'm saying? But God did give us power and dominion, but we're just not walking in it. We're not really living in it correctly. We're not really using or exercising that power, because we're so out of touch with the Most High. We have to get back in tune with the Most High. We have to be more divine. We have to get deeper into the spirit realm. We have to come back as a babe. And, nature, you'll see how, how God's creation, how nature will start to speak to you, how you start walking through the woods and nature, the wilderness, you walk through forests, you have encounters with animals, things start to open up because you're more in tune with the Most High now, and you always got to understand that, man. We have to always consider these animals' lives, man, straight up, because these animals got spirits too. Truth be told, an animal spirit is actually stronger than our spirits, straight up. So what I want to do is just read scriptures about animal life and just go from there. All right, let's see. The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 19. Out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the sky, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called a living creature, that was its name. I want to correct myself, because I said how we were the last creation on earth, but it's actually the animals. But I want to correct myself on that one. I think I was a bit off on that one about the reverse order of it, who God created who first or whatnot. But nonetheless, he created us and animals within the same time frame, and he gave Adam the call to name it what you should name it. But also, when the flood hit, Noah got 2 of each animals. It's a reason why God did that, because God wanted to preserve and save those animals. He didn't want to save every single animal. He wanted to save those clean animals, because those animals that went into the ark with Noah, those are clean animals, So trust me, animals serve a high purpose, man. Trust me. The book of Psalm, chapter 104, verse 24. O Lord, how many are your works? In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your possessions. The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 20 through 25. Then God said, let the waters teem them with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the open expanse of heavens. God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarmed after their kind, and every winged bird after its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. There was evening and there was morning, a 5th day. Then God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after their kind. And it was so. God made the beasts of the earth after their kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps on the ground after its kind. And God saw that it was good. The book of Psalm, chapter 145, verse 15 through 16. The eyes of all look to you. You give them their food in due time. You open your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 26. Look at the birds of the air, that they do not sow, nor do they reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth much more than they? The book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 24. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap. They have no storeroom nor barn, and yet God feeds them. How much more valuable are you than our birds? The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 7. You shall certainly let the mother go, but the young you may take for yourself, in order that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days. The book of Psalm, chapter 104, verse 10 through 12. He sends forth springs in the valleys. They flow between the mountains. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. Beside them the birds of the heavens dwell. They lift up their voices among the branches. The book of Psalm, chapter 136, verse 25. Who gives food to all flesh? For his loving kindness is everlasting. The book of Psalm, chapter 147, verse 9.